I think they made it. Yeah, they made it back.
Gaming and technology are the talk of the party here with EloTalk.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the EloTalk podcast, where we talk about what's new and upcoming in the world of video games, technology, and culture. I'm your host, Justin, and I am joined this time by my lovely co-host, S, and we have two guests with us from Pro Rivalry League, Duviel, and we have Quent. Did you all want to introduce yourselves and kind of give a little profile to our listeners?
I'm S. I'm a writer for EloTalk. I just kind of got in a conversation with our owner one day, and here I am. It's been a good time. Been with these guys for like half a year now, I think. And I play, I guess, all kinds of stuff. Right now, I'm playing a lot of League, but I've been playing some Overwatch and Battle.right lately. All kinds of esports stuff. Yeah.
Nice, and I'm Duviel. Thanks for having us, by the way, EloTalk. Estelle, Justin, thanks for hosting. So as you said, I'm with Pro Rivalry League, or PRL for short, because it's much easier to say. I got started back with PRL, I don't know, I would say maybe back in February or so. We launched in June. Basically, we're an esports organization, and that's what I'm all about. I really like the competitive nature of it because I'm not as good as the other people, so I like just to run the stuff. But really, I kind of touch on everything that PRL does. Personally, I haven't done as much development lately, but mostly I just kind of keep things going like a well-oiled machine in all natures, whether it's just to kind of keep us afloat, making sure the tournaments run and we have players and we're functioning as a machine. As far as why I really got into it, I really enjoy video games. It's pretty obvious, but Battle.right and Rocket League are really two of my top games, which is what PRL is all about. So it only makes sense that I try to involve myself as much as I can just to get more enjoyment out of them.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'm Quent. I'm also from Pro Rivalry League. I'm currently the head developer, and I also just do random tournament moderation and management type stuff, like managing the website and making sure that all the tournaments and all of our assets that we use on stream work properly and stuff. I've been with PRL for about 6 months now. Just a couple weeks after Duviel joined in, he invited me to come out and actually cast for PRL. And after I started casting for a little while, I figured that my uses would be better fit as a developer and work my way up the ranks that way. So it's been a fun ride for me coming in through PRL, and it's really cool to see where PRL is going as well. I enjoy playing Rocket League and Battle.right as well. I think that kind of goes for all of our managers. We kind of put on tournaments that we enjoy playing so that we can get more enjoyment out of it and share the enjoyment we get with the games with everyone else. So it's definitely like a love child of all of our favorite games put together.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Glad to have everyone here. And to remind everyone, I'm an editor at EloTalk. I'm also the host of this podcast. I actively play in games like League of Legends, unfortunately, and Final Fantasy XIV. So I kind of have a little bit of dabblings in multiple places, but we're glad to have everyone here. And on today's show, we have quite a list of different topics. We are going to be talking more about PRL and their role in esports and organizing events. We're actually going to be talking about the logistics behind organizing tournaments and what goes into that planning process. And then we'll be talking about the expansion of the esports scene, including the possibilities of Nintendo-sponsored events with their announcement of the Switch. And we'll also be looking into what is life as a pro player and what does that mean in our current day and age. So let's get right into it. Duviel and Quent, you kind of talked a little bit about your individual roles in PRL, but can you kind of give us an idea of what PRL does on like a big top-down perspective? What is PRL?
Sure. I'd first like to point out that we all said PRL correctly in its full name. I'm not going to say it again because I feel like I'm going to ruin that. So
don't jinx it.
Let's celebrate that for a little bit. All right, celebration over. So what PRL is is it's an esports organization that really tries to shine on not only the competitive side of nature that esports is, but really how everyone can come into esports, including lower level players, and hopefully work their way up and become what they aspire to be, a professional player. So we do offer very competitive tournaments between Battle Royale and Rocket League, and but we also make it so it's an open platform, so everyone can join, everyone gets to have that fun. We thrive on putting on a good production value for everything. When it comes down to it, viewers are the majority of what we're here for. It's the same thing as a normal sport. Without viewers, there's nothing to show. Like, there's no reason to show it. So we really try to, as an esports organization, make it as pleasurable for the viewers as well as the players. And production is really what I think makes PRL shine. Quent, do you have anything you'd add to that? What PRL embraces?
I think that's all pretty much spot on. I would add that we also have a very large community on Discord that's growing every day, and that's also really exciting to see grow. And so we call ourselves a community first organization, that we always want to make sure that everybody that's part of PRL is having fun in game and out of game, and just foster a nice community for everyone to be part of.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, it sounds like, and I mean, as we kind of talk more about organizing these events and getting them to the standards that you all have for your community, I'm sure we'll kind of talk about your processes and whatnot. But again, kind of taking a look at PRL, what does a normal day look like for PRL? What is like a normal work day? How does that flow?
Well, it's not really like a normal job. I'd say it's very constant throughout the day. There's always something that has to be taken care of. But we do host 4 tournaments a week, and then we also have various days that we do other things on stream, like viewer games or whatever. And so in the beginning of the day, it's often talking with graphics people and making sure that we have assets rolling out and that are always increasing our production quality. But towards the end of the day, when our tournaments start getting going, that's when like the life starts kicking into everything that we do, and there's people all over the place. We have to make sure that all of our casters are ready to go. We have a broadcaster that has all the assets he needs. There's a whole bunch of people that we need to juggle and make sure everything falls into place. And then once the tournament starts, that's when like a flip is switched and everybody just goes into autopilot, and it just runs like a well-oiled machine at that point, to the point where at the end of the tournament, the staff is just having fun, talking, hanging out, just enjoying themselves while putting on an amazing show. I think that pretty much happens, like I said, 4 days a week for all of our tournaments, and then the other days we have like staff events, community events, where we just hang out with people and play games or do whatever. Did I miss anything? Did we do anything else regularly?
I mean, I guess we do a lot of stuff, so it's really hard to answer that question with 100% accuracy. Especially as you kind of touched on, we have a lot of different people that help make PRL a thing, and we've kind of grouped them into, I guess you could say, departments. Graphics, casters, etc. I guess you could say managers too, and we all have different roles, as you could imagine. So it's everyone kind of focuses on different things, especially like right before we launch a new game. Like we just recently launched Battle Right like 2 weeks ago. There was a lot of the days it was hounding the graphics people to be like, hey, I need a picture. I need you to make pretty things. And then as it got a little bit closer, we're like, casters, are you familiar with things? Like, do you want to set up some private games? Can we start casting some things? And then, as us managers, every day we are trying to figure out how we can make PRL grow, whether we're seeking out sponsors. We're working with our favorite partner, EloTalk, to write sweet things and maybe gain some attraction.
Someone's trying to be super nice.
They didn't make
brownie
me say
points, Duviel. Brownie points.
But so it's trying to us managers really play a big part of how PRL grows. So we're doing different things every day, whether you're reaching out to sponsors, as I said, or trying to figure out how to organize something that's going to gain attraction, whether it be like just a new format of how we do our tournaments and whatnot. So it's really, really busy, and it's really every day is a different day, pretty much, which I think is what makes it so enjoyable, is just because there's so much essentially spontaneity to what we do. Keeps you on your toes.
And that actually leads to a question I was thinking of. How big is your staff?
Oh gosh. I don't know that we
give you an exact number.
Oh, look at this guy.
It's very large.
You have an exact number. Nice.
If I were to estimate as a manager, before he gives you the real number,
I would
go with, I think we have around 30.
I was going to say, you gonna bet money first? Okay.
Oh, geez, I should have.
Yeah, we have 51 people that help us do things.
You're so
wow.
a little low.
Yeah.
I guess I'm
There's
resigned.
a lot of people. Yeah.
Sorry. How do you join up with a community like you with Pro Rivalry League?
Just say PRL. Just save
PRL,
yourself.
Okay. Okay. I didn't get my chance to say it. I had to try.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, yeah. How do you join up with a community like PRL and be a part of your staff?
So I mentioned that we're a community-first organization. We have a very huge focus on community. So the very first thing that we make sure that the people that come to ask us if they want to help for moderating or casting or whatever, we tell them that they have to be active in the community. And once they're active in the community, then we'll contact them after they've made it clear that they want to help us out and stuff. Then we'll contact them once they're active in the community and see if they're still interested in helping us out in whatever it is, casting, graphics, development, moderating, whatever. And at that point, then we just kind of go with it. It's very, it's like an inward growth from our community into our staff to help out. And I think it works out really well. We get a lot of really dedicated people that way.
All right. Yeah.
Nice. So before you got to this 50 staff marker, how did you all start? And where did this idea for PRL kind of come from?
So it actually came from a Reddit thread that someone found a little bit of more history on myself, actually, to kind of maybe lead into that. Is I actually used to be one of the admins for a different Rocket League organization. And then I stepped down from that. I just wasn't as much of a fan. I didn't enjoy it as much, as just for various reasons. And then I found another subreddit thread that said that someone wanted to start a new Rocket League community, and I was like, well, I have experience. I really enjoyed doing it. We'll see if I can help make this one a more desirable place for someone that I would like to be, because I feel like if I would like to be there, other people would like to too. Hopefully people think like me. Well, so I joined in on that subreddit thread, messaged the person, and then talked to him for a little while, got brought on, worked with him. I think when I first joined, there were maybe 7 or 8 of us that were there at the beginning. We slowly started growing. I reached out to people like Quent said. I reached out to Quent as a caster, had him brought on because I'd worked with him in the past. I knew he was a great guy, and he had a wonderful voice. So I brought him on, and a little bit of flirtation never hurts, right? But so we kind of just slowly started accumulating people, and then now it's people come to us, which is a really good feeling. I think that means we're doing things well enough. So it's just kind of everyone kind of brought in 1 or 2 people until eventually we started making a name for ourselves, and then people started coming to us, and we kept growing. There's not really a reason for us to stop growing. We're all volunteer based, so it's if someone wants to help PRL grow, we're gonna let them. Like, we don't really have a reason for us not to accept more people. I mean, at a certain point, I guess it could get a little sloppy trying to make sure everyone has stuff to do. It can be helpful, but we're all here as volunteers. So if people want to help PRL grow, we let people on, assuming that they're actually willing to help out. And we reached 50 staff, apparently 51. Sorry.
I like that. I like the addition of apparently. Like, we did it. Nice. Congrats. And because you have such an expansive staff, do they all come from different regions, or do you all work primarily in North America? Where does PRL do most of its work?
We have people all over the place. Most of them are from the United States or Canada, but we also have quite a few people in Germany, Amsterdam, Netherlands area. We have a few people from England, actually. So there are some people all over the world that are trying to help out. But since we do host mainly NA North American tournaments, we do have most of the people on our staff are from North America.
Okay. And what was the ultimate decision that led you all to focus primarily on Battle Right and Rocket League?
So I think, Rocket League was something that we all played. It was kind of like our greatest common denominator. All of us played it. We all really enjoyed it. Rocket League is a great game. I think we can all attest to that. So it just kind of made sense for us to do Rocket League because it's kind of the reason we all came together. And we, as a community, we all tend to sway together when it comes to new games. We actually did Overwatch for like a day and decided that it wasn't as much for us. And we backed out of that. And then a new game, Battle Right, came out. We all really liked it. We thought that it had some, good esports nature to it, or capabilities. So we kind of grew into that. And so far it's done really well. A lot of people like to watch it. A lot of people like to play it. And it provides a good esport scene. So it kind of made sense for us to grow into that. And as well as just working with the community at Battle Right has been an absolute pleasure. They're great people over there. I don't know if I know Estelle, you mentioned that you play a little bit of Battle Right. Justin, I'm not sure if you caught that.
Yeah, I picked it up. I think a few days after it went early access. I was able to get a review code. So I played a bunch of it. I just couldn't stop. It was a ton of fun. And then I found out like the devs are trying to grow the esports scene for it as well. So just all the more interested.
Yeah, between the devs and the community, like Battle Right is it's a really, really great place to be. On top of just being a really fun game. So it seemed like kind of like a no-brainer for us to hop into that at PRL. So here we are with Rocket League and Battle Right.
I actually haven't heard. I played a little bit of Rocket League when the hype was really hitting it off about a year ago. I know it's still around, but I remember when it was really peaking about a year ago. And then I know of Battle Right because of a YouTuber I follow. So now that y'all mentioned this, I have to look into it because I keep hearing good things about Battle Right. So I think I need to jump on this hype train before it leaves the station here.
Well, let's pause this podcast. We'll all go play it.
And just go log in. Sounds perfect. So I didn't know if Estelle, you had any questions, but one thing I did want to ask, just to kind of lead off of what we were just talking about, how was it plugging into such a new and developing community such as Battle Right? How did that process look, and has that been really profitable for PRL overall?
I'd say that it is one of the better decisions that we made in PRL. It's been like the community has been so accepting and like friendly towards us. It's absolutely insane. So I would say that it's been a great transition into Battle Right, as well as because a lot of the Rocket League players we've already had play Battle Right as well. They're just really closely knit communities, I guess. And the developers are super nice. They've actually contacted us and about helping us put on more Battle Right tournaments in the future, as well as helping us pay for the current ones that we're doing. So they're really supportive of all the organizations that are out there doing tournaments for them, and that's really cool to see. When you know, a lot of times developers are really hard to get in contact with, especially since they have an idea in their mind that you know, the esports scene is one that you don't need to talk very much with the tournaments, but that's altogether wrong. And these guys have a very good mindset on how to communicate with the tournament organizations and the players all together. So it's really cool.
And just to add to that, it really helped to get into the battle right scene because we had experience in the esports scene and just the tournament platform with Rocket League, that we were able to we had most of the assets ready to hop in. Just created a couple more graphics and had some casters kind of orient themselves into a different game. So it was really easy to transition to it as far as what we needed to do. So that really helped us as far as being able to produce a high quality tournament, especially compared to some of the newer people who were doing tournaments in there. We had a little bit of an edge on that. In fact, just to kind of boast PRL a little bit, one of our casters was playing a public game at some point after one of our first tournaments, and he got recognized, and he asked something along the lines of how familiar he was with PRL, and apparently he said that he was one of the more known people in the community of Battle.right, and he said that everyone in the community by now knows who PRL is. So our caster screenshotted that and posted it to us. So we kind of kept that, and it's kind of a good feel, you know. Just when someone who's well known says that, it makes what we're doing worth it. Like it provides the warm fuzzies, you know.
Yes, that's awesome.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. I haven't had anybody, I guess, say check out PRL in my games yet. One day it'll happen when you guys are doing a tournament. When's your next Battle.right tournament? It's on Thursdays, right? Or no?
So we actually do Battle.right tournaments as of right now on Saturdays.
Okay.
Yeah, so nothing necessarily set in stone, you know, but we're trying to figure out what's best for everyone as far as participation and what things or what times people can make. But as of right now, our Battle.right tournaments are on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. Also, I know you guys were saying something just like about the esports scene and with Battle.right being so new. How do you see like that scene specifically or changing or developing over time as it gets more like fleshed out and when it goes free to play around the first quarter of 2017?
I think that it's going to explode. Honestly, I think that the game has a lot of potential, and the developers are on the right track to really, like, when it goes free to play, I don't see a reason why a lot of the audience and players from other MOBA games, which I say MOBA games lightly, they're not very similar between like League of Legends, Dota, and Battle.right. There's quite a few differences between them, but I think that a lot of the player base would enjoy playing Battle.right as well. As just a matter of getting it out there and into people's hands, which the free to play period will definitely do.
Yeah, and again, just to add on to that a little bit, Quent very, very much so mentioned that the developers are on the right track to do that. The developers really control what happens in an esports. Like, if they want their game to go into the esports scene, it really boils down to them and being able to interact with the communities that are supporting their game, as well as providing money into it, which I think is a really big thing for all games to do if they want to get into the esports scene. I know we are with Rocket League, but I do fear that, you know, with Rocket League, Psyonix currently isn't supporting enough of their game to go full-on competitive scenes. If you look at games like League of Legends, you look at their season 1 finals or their worlds, I forget what they're called. It looked like it was in someone's basement. You look at their season 2, you know, it was a bigger, like kind of a bigger room. It was kind of like I don't want to say a Coliseum. It's a little bit too big, but it was definitely more of a tournament platform. And then their current seasons, they're like in football stadiums. Like, they kept growing, they kept putting more money into it, and it really showed I feel that to me, that is how developers need to successfully push what their game does, and League of Legends did a really good job of that, as well as just been involved with the whole, like, you have different tournaments that are all supported by Riot League of Legends developers, and that they really got involved in it. And Stunlock is also the developers of Battle.Right seem to be doing that. They're getting really involved with the community. They're putting money out for it. Hopefully, as things grow, they put more into it to help grow the esports scene for Battle.Right.
Yeah, I remember the difference between the different seasons of League of Legends Worlds. It's crazy just seeing how much money and time and all that dedication like changes the scene over years. It's crazy. Worlds is so huge now. It's awesome.
I just every time, like every once in a while, I see that image surface where it's like League of Legends Season 1 finals, and it's like it literally looks like it's in someone's basement. And then at like Season 2, it goes up a little bit. Season 3, they're in like an amphitheater, and then like Season 6, it's like a football stadium. It's nuts. Like the growth has been exponential.
I'm pretty sure they actually had a host Season 1 at DreamHack whenever it was like really small.
Yeah.
I remember.
Oh
about
yeah,
DreamHack.
that was
whenever DreamHack was really small, so Worlds was just even smaller.
I think that was when Doublelift was playing like Garen and anyway. That's way too meta. Anyway,
talking about that though, I like to talk about organizing events like the tournaments like you guys do. What kind of challenges are you guys facing when you put on a Rocket League or Battle.Right tournament?
I mean, so the biggest thing is finding players to play in it. I think in like the esports I guess atmosphere, there's a lot of expectation for tournaments to provide a lot of money for the people because of things like Worlds giving out millions of dollars, and just that type of thing really makes tournaments that don't give very much money out kind of at a disadvantage. But if you like we're doing, provide a good community atmosphere and give good production value, even though you're not giving out very much money, then the players will come, and you just need to be out there talking with them and getting them involved in your organization and in your tournament, and then they'll come no matter what you're giving out. But it is just a little bit harder to get people with that lack of money. But yeah, like I said, it's definitely possible for anybody to do it. You just need to spend a little more time on it. But then another challenge would be getting the staff. Like we said, 51 people helping PRL out. That doesn't come overnight, and you need to spend a little bit of time getting those dedicated people to help you out week after week without any pay. We don't pay anybody in our staff, not even the managers. So it's all volunteer gig, and you need to find the people that love doing what you're doing to help you out.
I fully claim that we got incredibly lucky with our staff. I don't know where they came from, but they're here, and if they ever leave, I will cry. Our staff has just been like, I would hire if I had all the money, I would hire these guys and pay them full time because they do absolutely phenomenal work. I don't know where they came from. They came, and then they run everything so well. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. Especially been in their volunteer base, organization. So couldn't shout out our staff anymore. They're great people.
That's awesome. I mean, how lucky, right, to find those people who are passionate about just giving time. And with just a little bit of time from multiple people, you can get so much work done too, which is awesome.
Yeah, I find that as an organization, what it really comes down to is it's really hard to find people with that passion, So a previous organization I was in, it had a lot of people helping it, but no one really seemed to have as much passion in doing it as the people that were the higher ups in the organization that was helping grow it. But at PRL, it seems that the people like our graphics department or our casters, they have as much or more passion than the people who started PRL and the people who are trying to grow PRL. So that really helps a tremendous amount towards any organization not even just esports in general, but esports especially, to have that much passion and the people who are helping it, not just at the higher level with the managers or the people who started, the founders. When you have everyone with it's equally trying as much, putting in that much time, it's going to be successful. And I think that's really the key to join these organizations for games or really anything, as I said.
It sounds like
Well,
you guys
welcome
have...
to the EloTalk podcast, where we talk about PRL staff and how amazing they are.
Whoa,
So
I said any organization, not PRL.
What I was saying is, it sounds like you guys have like a pretty dedicated community, pretty like tight knit with your 51-ish staff, if we know, and and everyone who participates. Does that make it easier to create like hype for your events, to get people excited and bring new people in, and keep the people you have?
Yeah, so we actually have a lot of professional players that also seem to really like PRL, and really just, it's really not even PRL, but people who want to support the community. So these professional players, they're professional because they make money and they're really good at the game, playing the game. So when they have organizations that are supporting their cause, essentially giving them a platform to play, to be a professional, it makes sense for them to help out. So when we support these pro players and they come to us and ask us to do different things for them, we very much oblige to do that. That way, when it comes to our tournament time, we can reach out to them and they can kind of help us create some hype for our tournament. They can contact their other, their friends that are also probably professional players and try to help us build that hype and be a part of our tournament. Because as you said, or as I said rather, it's without our tournament platform, or without other organizations' tournament platforms or leagues or whatever that's creating the scene, the pro players wouldn't be able to do anything. They wouldn't exist. So it helps PRL specifically to have these professional players to be in close contact, so they can essentially create some hype for any organization's tournaments. I think that answers your question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yes, it does.
All right.
But with creating these events and trying to get that invested audience and people that are a part of your community, what would you say has been the biggest challenge that you all have faced in just doing work with PRL? And then on the flip side, what has been one of the best moments or memories that you all can remember from working through PRL?
I have a Quent to answer this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer the worst one really quick, because when we first started, right, our launch, like, I forget how many months ago, 5 months ago, 4 months ago, something like that. We had a tournament and we had it all ready to go. We're all really nervous. We had all of our staff on hand. We're all in a voice chat, getting things ready to go. And we went to go launch the tournament and get all the teams ready to go and with their matches and everything. And immediately the tournament was deleted, and a lot of users started being deleted. And there was a message on our homepage that said your passwords have been compromised or something along those lines.
Oh
no! Like, what just happened? We were literally, the minute they were ready to launch, and it turned out that somebody that used to work with us in the past had gone into our website again and started messing with things because they were disappointed with the fact that they weren't helping us anymore. And but that also leads into one of the best moments, is the fact that all of our staff banded together, and we immediately started dealing with things really, really well, and contacting people and making sure everybody knows what's going on. The passwords weren't actually compromised, and make sure people understood that. Some random person from the community posted on Reddit saying, "Hey, this is what's going on in PRL. Just hold on, they'll get back to you in a little bit." And we had it resolved in 45 minutes, and everybody's back up and running. So it was absolutely insane that we were able to band together that quickly off of such a hard to take tragedy. So that was both my best and worst moments at PRL.
And Quent didn't toot his own horn at all a little bit, but he is a major part of the reason that we were saved. That he basically hacked the hacker that was doing our stuff, gained access to our site again, and was able to restore it. So Quent saved us that day. But I mean, he was right. There was a lot of community effort between all of us.
So when you actually are hosting events, and for those who might be looking to host their own events or kind of want to get into that scene, what's some advice that you could give for shoutcasting or broadcasting events? Because you guys do a lot of broadcast over the internet, correct, of your tournaments?
Yeah, so we actually have a dedicated broadcaster, basically a camera guy, and then our casters. Really, as far as the shoutcasters go, it's really been knowledgeable and having a passion for the next game, for the game that they're playing. It doesn't. A lot of people think that you need to have a golden voice. I don't necessarily think that's true. When it comes to having passion and being able to talk thoroughly and be knowledgeable about the game. I'm clearly not a caster. Be knowledgeable about the game that you're playing. That's going to breed quality in the work that they do. So when we go out and casters say they would like to cast for us, that's really what we look for. It's really just having that passion and being able to want to get better. We actually have weekly meetings for our casters so that they kind of talk to each other to figure out how they can maybe change a little bit to get a little bit better, or if there's something they're doing a little bit too much of or not enough of. That way they're constantly working and trying to get better. A couple of our casters have gone on to do other, I mean, they're still with us, but they've gone on to do other events. And we strongly encourage that. If I could get our casters to get jobs and get paid what to do exactly that would be amazing. And I know one of our casters has really grown and has been asked to do other casts for other games or other organizations, and that's great. He has that passion that I was referring to as far as wanting to get better and really just trying to be knowledgeable about what he wants to do.
So it sounds like it can lead into all sorts of career decisions for folks, which is awesome. So providing that experience and knowledge for people who are passionate about doing those kinds of things.
Yeah, it's really what it comes down to. As I said, it's you don't necessarily need that going. I think a lot of people are scared because they don't like their own voice. But I mean, let's be honest, who likes their own voice? Maybe Morgan Freeman. But
I was about to say maybe.
It's really just been knowledgeable and having that passion to say it is what it boils down to, in my opinion. I know Quent used to be a caster. Maybe he can add to that. Quent?
Yeah, it's just a lot of practice. Like you're saying, you don't necessarily have to have like the golden voice to be able to cast. You don't necessarily have to have the widest vocabulary, but as long as you practice and just keep exercising your vocal cords and your vocabulary, it'll grow over time. And that's really important as far as casting goes, to be able to adapt and learn how to be a better caster through practice. And people will see that and want you to cast for them.
And what's great too is that the whole entirety of esports is growing. So getting new people in to kind of experience esports as it grows and develops and get those skills and become a part of that growing community will be beneficial for everyone, and just kind of expanding who we can use as resources and provide that for people who are watching. Because at the end of the day, it's your viewership, right? So getting people into the field and getting them involved really helps, and growing that field really helps too. But actually, speaking about growing fields for esports and talking about getting new and different games involved and communities involved in professional gaming, Nintendo actually just did their reveal of the Nintendo Switch, which personally I'm super excited for. I think it's going to be super great. I'm also a Nintendo fanboy, so I totally recognize that. But in their trailer, they showed what looks like to be esports like scenario. And I didn't know, do you think that this means that Nintendo is looking to expand into esports?
I think that is what the video implied. I don't think that it's going to work. You may call me pessimistic about this, but I think that's going to be a little bit outside of what Nintendo has done. I think that Nintendo's always been really, really successful because they've stuck to their plan. Or not their plan, but their like tendencies. They've always done the same thing. They've always targeted the same audience, and that audience has never changed. They've never really let them down. All the people that has been Nintendo fanboys, fangirls have always bought Nintendo products. I'm worried that they're going to lose that focus and try to do things that other people are already doing and doing well. As I said, I'm on the little pessimistic side of Nintendo going to esports. I don't think that they have the platform to support what the games that are out there, as far as what like League of Legends or Battle Right. Like, it doesn't really make sense for them to choose that. They don't have strong shooter games. They don't have strong graphics as far as being able to support a lot of so League of Legends can be pretty graphic intensive as far as getting good quality and everything going on the screen. I don't think that they're in the boat to be able to do that. Maybe I'm wrong. That's just my viewpoint on it.
I kind of agree, but I also want to flip the script a little bit and say, like, let's just dream for a second and imagine if they were to launch and get a really good esports following, how amazing it would be to have an esport that requires you to be standing and being active while you're doing it. That could change the game of like, health and fitness games. That it could revolutionize that. But I do agree with everything that Duviel is saying, that it's their main audience right now is family games and family type environments, and you're not really going to see a lot of people that play League of Legends or Dota. Not a lot of them fit into that category that play Nintendo games or the family. So it might be a tough transition for them, but I personally want to see it happen. I think that would be really, really great.
And just to kind of counterpoint, and again, the Nintendo fanboy in me is just gonna come out for a second. So there are two games that I think of when we talk about esports. Super Smash Bros. And Splatoon. I never bought Splatoon. I'm not really much of a first-person shooter or any type of shooter kind of person, but I know that those games have huge communities and have done really well for themselves, even though they are Nintendo franchises. So while I can understand that there's not a plethora of games for people that might be more traditional professional gamers, these are different communities for people to kind of have easier access to higher level play, and can definitely open up the range of players that we will see as viewers, and kind of give us different takes on who can enter the professional gaming scene. Because, right away, Super Smash Bros. And Splatoon are very different games, but I feel like it can open up the stage for who wants to be part of that professional gaming scene. So I might be wrong as well, but who knows, right? And who knows if this is even a hint toward them entering into the esports field. But that's just my small take on it.
There's always been there's that dedicated fighting game community, like the Street Fighter guys and Mortal Kombat or whatever. They're just a little sub part of esports. They kind of do their own thing, and with Evo, Smash Bros was super big at Evo, even though I think Nintendo is just wanting to capitalize more on it actually, like, Super Smash Bros. Being a big esport, because Super Smash Bros. Was wildly popular this year. I'm pretty sure it had more viewership. I think it was like the second most at Evo, something like that.
Am I supposed to fact check right now? Yeah, let me just.
Oh man. I don't know. I'll correct myself later, but I'm pretty sure that it was just like right under Street Fighter. It was pretty big. I think it's going to be pretty successful, honestly. Especially, I know Nintendo announced that they're going to be doing like weekly Splatoon tournaments or whatever. I guess that's just their first little dabbling into esports, like of them sponsoring something, because they normally didn't really do this a lot before. I think the last little thing I remember they did, or like the bigger thing they've done, there was like a Smash 4 tournament on launch with a whole bunch of old like Melee pros who just to show off the game and promote it. And I think otherwise they do like little, tournaments at events or whatever, just to have people at their booths. But I think now that they're actually getting serious about esports and wanting to be a part of it and capitalize on, how big it's gotten recently, I think it's going to be pretty successful and something to watch.
Sure. I guess it also depends on how you define successful. In my mind, I think that I'm thinking, comparing it, or not comparing, but competing to other esports platforms, essentially what Sony or Microsoft or essentially just PC games in general can provide. I don't think that Nintendo will ever reach that level. But you kind of said something that made a little bit more sense, as far as they always kind of they're their own community, like Street Fighter communities or Smash communities. They're kind of their own thing. So I guess I could see them growing those little communities just to be bigger communities. So if you want to call that success, if you want to define successful as that, then you may be right. I think it could grow in that nature. I really think that, in my mind, that competing with the bigger named things is not really going to be something they're going to be able to do. And the Nintendo Switch doesn't really have much to do with their esports scene in general. Like, I mean, they can already do Smash tournaments. They can already do Street Fighter tournaments. I don't necessarily think the Switch really changes the game up on that, as far as what they're capable of, minus being able to take it on a plane, and unless they plan on having tournaments.
Just doing like a Smash tournament on a 747. Like, sorry guys, I'm late. I'm running to like Dubai really quick, but I have to jump in.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I'd watch that.
And according to my quick fact checking, and we all know this is probably going to be super accurate, it looks like Melee had the highest amount of viewership, and then Smash 4 had like pretty high viewership in comparison to everything else. But Melee had the most, looks like. So, at like 220-ish thousand.
Yeah,
So,
I was watching, I think, championships or whatever when Hungry Box won, which was super hype. Everybody tuned in for that. He cried on stage. It was a big deal.
emotions.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's good. So outside of esports, what are your guys' thoughts on the Switch itself as a console? What do you think?
I think it's really cool. It's a cool idea, and the fact that you can play regular console games, but you can also take it and it's seamless between playing a game on your TV at home or whatever and playing on a little handheld device. Like, I think that's really, really neat that's a thing that you can do, and I think it's going to really enhance personal gaming and portable gaming. So I think that it's going to fit in the same category as like the Game Boy or whatever, and then for the PS Vita or whatever, and but also bridge the gap between that type of gaming and console gaming as well. So I think it'd be really fun to own one and just be able to, if you find a game that you really enjoy playing on it, then you could literally take it with you and play wherever you're going, assuming you don't have to like drive there or whatever. So I think that's a really cool idea.
I was just gonna ask, now that like I was thinking about the Switch and like their controller, you know how you can like take it apart and put it on the handheld device and everything, take it with you. I was thinking about, since now that they have like a more, I guess, traditional controller, like controls like the D-pad and joysticks and everything, you think we're ever going to see Rocket League on the Switch? And will you get the Switch just for that?
I doubt it. I think that it took Psyonix long enough to get to Xbox, and then part of going to Xbox was been able to essentially cross network play. So now these days we can do Xbox and PC together, and then PS4 and PC together. Unfortunately, yet we can't do Xbox and PS4 together. I think that integrating network play with Nintendo may prove to be too much of an effort, and I don't think that Psyonix will support making a version of Rocket League just for Nintendo, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, if Rocket League does come out on the Wii Switch or whatever, or Nintendo Switch, I will buy the Nintendo Switch. I'm not much of a console gamer, but if it comes out on the Nintendo Switch, I will have to buy the Switch. It's just
you heard it. You heard it here, Nintendo. You know what to do.
You have sell one. It'll be more
Reggie,
successful
I know
than
you're
Wii U.
here.
Touching on what Quent was saying regarding the success of the Nintendo Switch, I'm going to go towards the more pessimistic side again here. I don't necessarily think...
I'm done with this conversation right now. Like, I can't.
Says the guy that doesn't play Battle Royale or Rocket League.
I
was done with you when we started.
Just, you know what? We don't need to get me involved in this. Like,
no, I don't think that it's going to be as successful as they want it to be, or people think that it may be. I mean, we look at the game, we look at the system like the Vita. Like, it kind of was hyped up at the beginning, but it doesn't really. Like, it never really became popular. I mean, yeah, some people had it, but they never used it. I think that anyone that I knew that had the Vita, that bought it, regretted their decision, like, because they never play it. So the thing is, like, so you can play it when you go outside of your house, but generally when you go outside of your house, it's because you have you're going to do something. The big thing here that I think that if Nintendo has going for them is their audience is generally people in like the younger age brackets. So when they leave their house, they're generally in the parents' backseat of the car, so they can play their Switch or their Game Boy. Because I don't know about you, but anytime that I left the house as a kid, you can be sure that I had my Game Boy Color with me and playing Pokemon Yellow.
Ooh, boy, memories. Oh my god. Well, and so I really want the Switch to succeed. And what I really enjoy about the Switch is that it continues Nintendo's overall vision of innovate the console. It doesn't matter if the graphics are up to par. It's really more about the innovation that's behind the gaming. How do we as a community get more people to play games and enjoy them? And how do we get a focus away from just strictly power and graphics and into more enjoying what you're doing. And I think that the Switch will really tackle that issue of, I want to play a console game, but I also don't like, because some people might not be sold on getting a DS. But Japan is also a very different market than America. So selling a console that's portable kind of defeats two birds with one stone and really gets that console market involved with the handheld market, which could be really awesome. And like I said, we have to still see what this actually means, because who knows if this will actually work as seamless as it says in the trailer. But I think in order for it to really succeed, it needs to have at least, competitive graphics. It needs to have a battery system that works for a long period of time. And it also needs to have that seamless transition, not only between a handheld to a TV in the living room, but from a player to another player. So I feel like that's a lot of up in the air questions that we have to see the Switch kind of tackle. But I'm really excited to see where to see where this could kind of go for Nintendo and see where it could go for gaming in general.
I think it'll be interesting to see the pro players that develop out of the Nintendo Switch. If they do push esports, is it going to take away from other platforms? So it's really what we mentioned earlier, that pro players really go after the money. Like there's been offered, like without the money, the pro players aren't doing anything. Estelle, I think I cut you off now that I think about it. I'm sorry.
No. I was just kind of mid thought, trying to form words. But
sorry.
I don't know. If the Switch does, go like with esports and whatever, what games do you think like Nintendo will make that won't work as like a professional game, that won't attract, a scene?
Sure.
I don't really see a professional scene for like Super Mario games. I don't think that they can like that's a really big attraction to Nintendo platforms, is that all of the Super Mario games are on the Nintendo platforms. But that's one thing that I don't think is going to have an easy transition into the esports world, the esports realm. But we brought up Smash Bros. It's a very easy transition into the esports realm. You just need to provide tournaments for it, and you're basically already set. So if they can focus on those types of games and stay away from those platforming, casual, I guess, it just makes sense if you stay away from casual games and into more competitive games that you can play online with other people, then that's going to be a greater move for Nintendo overall.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say earlier. I just couldn't form words because I said, I'm not a caster, so words are hard for me. There's not enough competitive games for Nintendo at the moment. Maybe that'll change with the Switch. Maybe they're going to try to gear with all of the developers for games to do a little bit of competitive nature and what they make. But as of right now, as far as what Nintendo offers, all of their exclusives that they make, none of them are really geared towards the competitive style. A lot of them are, family oriented or single player oriented, which obviously don't have any room in the esports scene, which I think is, what's going to be if they have a downfall, will be their downfall.
Right, and because there's so many games out there that are more catered toward the professional scene, I can kind of see where that argument is that's coming from, where Nintendo doesn't really fit in. But we do see a lot of games out there where it has such a robust community out there. Like we were talking earlier about League and how big it's gotten, and just how many players have gotten involved with League, and how many people we've seen play professionally, and how many people we've seen leave the scene. And watching as a spectator myself, I'm not really a person that delves too deep into professional play, but I've seen a lot of it over the years. Watching professional players enter in the scene and kind of seeing their progress and seeing how they work and grow, and then seeing how they exit their life as a professional player is really interesting. I didn't know if you all thought that there was enough being done for professional players now with what's provided in games and in the current state of being a professional gamer. Is there more that needs to be done to support professional players?
So this is actually something that I think that Psyonix is backing very well when it comes to the professional scene and how they're growing it. So Psyonix is actually working with Twitch. They partnered with Twitch, and Twitch actually pretty much takes care of all of the professional scene for them as far as accommodations and getting them to their tournaments and everything. So Quent and I actually went to RLCS Rocket League Championship Series, which was their Season 1 Worlds. And we actually work with some of the Twitch staff, or really mainly one guy. And he told us that essentially Twitch accommodates everything for the professional players. The professional players have absolutely nothing to worry about, and I think that's very important. And when I say they have nothing to worry about, all their meals were paid for, their flight was paid for, their hotel is paid for. They told the players where to be, when to be. Like, they told them everything they needed to do. They did everything. So the only thing they had to worry about was what they were there to do, play the game. Like, they actually had set up practice arenas behind I guess it was kind of in front of the stage, but we'll say behind the stage for traditional terms. They had like a little practice where they could play Rocket League and just kind of keep their focus on Rocket League. That way they had no distractions. Everything was great. I've never actually been to other places or other like arenas, but I know that was done right. Psyonix and Twitch worked together really well for the professional players. And I think that is a very good step towards the esports scene. If everyone follows that, it'll help professional players, it'll help them grow and help them want to actually be a part of the esports scene, because it's not necessarily the easiest scene to be a part of.
Yeah, especially with how constant it changes. Sure.
Yeah. How long do you think it'll take before those professionals have the same weight as, say, like professional athletes that we see on TV playing like football or basketball?
I think it could be very soon. You mentioned that esports players can get visas now, and that visa is the same one that they get if you're a professional athlete coming from another country as well. So that's already a great step, towards legitimizing these pro players. So I think, with the esports scene growing so fast and that there are so many games coming out there, immediately just diving into the esports scene so deeply, things like Overwatch, it had like one of the biggest esports followings a week after it started. It's absolutely crazy that, who knows, in a year there could be, a change in opinion where people start to legitimize these pro players, and in 10 years they might be more legitimate than pro players in other like real sports, I guess you would say, like real life sports. So it could go anywhere from here, but I think it's going to be coming quicker than we might think it's going to come.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, in some cases it already is. If you look at places like Korea or China, their professional players over there have just as much respect as any soccer player or football player here in the States. And even in different cultures, of course, is going to result in different things. But it's slowly transitioning into all cultures. Even if you look at the culture here in the U.S., it is very much changing. We go back 20 years or so in grade school. Playing video games or being a huge nerd seemed kind of like a negative thing. It was a negative connotation. But we look in today's, at high school, and people who play these video games, like, they're almost kind of like the cool kids these days. Like, it's not a bad thing. It definitely has its positive, and it's slowly all changing to accepting people playing video games, especially people playing video games to make money. You look at the League of Legends players in the US that are getting paid millions to play, essentially. Like, that's respectable. It doesn't matter who you are. That I don't make millions of dollars. Please, I want that. And anyone, that's going to be the same mindset, I believe, for a lot of people. So I think it is pretty much almost there. And if not, will be probably, I would say, no more than in the next few years. It's growing very, very rapidly.
And because they are earning millions and millions of dollars, that comes with pressure. I mean, you see the stage that League of Legends Worlds has and the many people that watch that kind of event. And that's just League. I mean, as we were talking about, we were touching on all sorts of different gaming communities that are out there that have a professional scene. And do you think that those gaming communities help or hinder a professional player's life?
Oh, I think they absolutely they help. They get them in that mindset. They give them the competitive nature, and they help them grow. I mean, I think, like, I don't know how they could hinder in that nature. Like, it's essentially a stepping stone.
And I think what I meant more by hinder is, you see a lot of the times where professional players kind of come under pressure and have really negative reactions to people talking to them in public spaces like Twitter. I know that there was a lot of fallout with some professional players who just responded really negatively to some things via Twitter, and you just see how the pressure really gets to folks and causes them to like stress out or drop out. I think like one example that comes to my head is Ramilia, professional support player for League, dropped out, I believe. I can't recall off the top of my head.
She released a big statement. She was the support for Renegades. They just got to LCS, I think it was the summer split through like the Challenger series. She felt a lot of pressure because of the way she looked and her past, and people nitpicking at that and like bringing it up, and she just couldn't handle being on camera, being on stage, so she left the scene to kind of recuperate herself and, you know, spend more time like getting more comfortable with herself. Actually, she is coming back now under it's not Ramilia anymore though. It's I think it's like I don't remember. I do follow her on Twitter, but she's joining up on another region. So she is back. But that's why she's initially left.
Okay. But yeah, just talking about like negative press, how do you all think that affects a player's life?
So I mean, it's facing negativity is really something that you're going to face no matter what you do, and it's the ability to overcome it no matter what. Like even so, as someone who runs a tournament organization, yeah, I've talked that, you know, we have a lot of people that are pro RL. We've also had some people to talk us down and say that, you know, we're worthless and whatnot. But I think that's part of just overcoming it and getting past it. You're going to have it whether you're a professional player, you're an organization, even in physical sports, baseball, football, etc. You're going to have that people say that, you know, you're not performing as much, or you're not, you know, you messed up or something. And that's going to translate to even the esports scene as a player. And it's really something they just have to overcome. Like I know it sounds a lot simpler, easier said than done. But it is a thing that it's that you have to just kind of brush past it. And it sucks. Don't get me wrong. It sucks a lot. But it's inevitable.
For sure. And that's kind of like the unfortunate part of being in the public eye. But it seems that you all have grown and obviously are doing successfully. I mean, we keep touching on the 50 staff thing because that's a big thing. So looking to the future, where do you hope to see PRL? What does the future look like for PRL? What are you hoping to be doing in, let's say, 5 years, 10 years? What do you want to do with PRL?
Well, my hope and aspiration is to take the throne from the largest prize pool that Dota currently holds, which is $20,770,460. I want to dethrone them and be able to have that kind of impact on the esports scene. I mean, I want people that have no idea what we're doing, but just to watch us because we're doing awesome entertainment. Like a lot of people watch Dota, the internationals. They have no idea what game. Like they couldn't even tell you the name of the game they're playing, probably, or what Dota stands for, or have any idea what's going on the screen. But they had an obnoxious amount of people watching. Ideally, that's where I want PRL to be. I want people to kind of like randomly stroll up on our stream. I want you to walk into Buffalo Wild Wings and see Pro Rivalry League up on the TV.
We'll get it by the end of the cast.
Yeah, we got this.
Okay.
I was on a super strong tangent, and I wanted to just go out strong, and I messed it up.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll call that ambulance right now.
That's where I want to be. You know, like I want to grow, and I want us to be just providing top-notch performance. And I want people to go into the local sports bar and see us on the screen. I think that the esports scene is growing, and I want to be a part of it as PRL. And I think that Quent shares that passion, and he can continue on that if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll be a little more general than you. I mean, I've almost never watched like the huge tournaments like Call of Duty, League of Legends, those type of things. I don't really watch them. And the reason I don't watch them is because I don't understand what's going on the screen. And I think that that's something that we can fill the niche for. Whatever tournaments we do in the future, I think that we do a great job of it now with Rocket League and Battlerite. But I want to make sure that people watching understand what's going on the screen through the casters or through how we present it or whatever. And I think that if we can achieve the goal of making sure that everybody watching the stream has at least some understanding of the game and its mechanics, then I think that we've succeeded. And being able to provide more than $22 million, however much that would be a great plus. And I think that would be really, really cool to achieve as an organization.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you all for sharing and joining us on the podcast today. Super enjoyed having your company, learning a lot about organization of events and tournaments, and learning about, Pro Rivalry League.
No.
It's so hard. Who did this? But thank you all for joining and talking with us. And be sure to go to your local Buffalo Wild Wings here in the future to catch Pro Rivalry League on TV. Right? That's the goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
But outside of Buffalo Wild Wings, where can we find you guys at Duviel and Quent?
Sure. So we have a lot of different avenues. Our most popular is definitely our Discord. You can just use our vanity URL. It's discord.gg/PRL. And then we also have a Twitter that we're pretty active on, which is just our handle is Pro Rivalry. Got it.
Nailed it.
And then, of course, if you want to check out our Twitch for past streams and tournaments, just to see how we go, we have. Oh, what is it? It's twitch.tv/PRORL, ProRL. So you can check out any past VODs, or if you can see us live. We do tournaments currently 4 days a week, every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, all at 7 p.m. except for Sunday. That one's 5 p.m. All Eastern times. And feel free to drop by and say hello.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And
and I totally forgot we have a website.
oh yeah,
the main thing.
Where is that
Forget
website?
about
It's ProRL.com.
Awesome. So ProRL.com.
Yep.
Well, great. And again, thank you all for coming. Super enjoyed having you all on the show. And for our listeners out there, be sure to check in on our next episode. We also will have links or references to our old episodes somewhere. So check us out on EloTalk.com. And you can find us there. But besides that, I'm Justin. It was great talking with y'all. Thank you all for joining. And we'll see you next time. I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to add, Estelle.
Nah, follow us on Twitter too. We have a Twitter as well.
Ooh, Twitter. I'm bad at
just
Twitter.
At Elo, and then we _talk. We don't have it all mashed together yet. One day.
All right.
That's our dream.
That's our dream.
Is to
That's
have a
the
complete handle.
Gotta dream something, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, well, awesome. Thanks for having us, by the way, Justin and S. It's been a huge pleasure. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been a ton of fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. We'll definitely be tuning into those tournaments here in the future.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
See you
Bye,
guys.
everyone.